JF Giraud, in French Jean-François Giraud, and today I'm going to be explaining how we can use a Google Doc, a spreadsheet, to create a blockchain to help with the certification of regulatory requirement. It can also be industrial, contractual, or commercial requirements. To start a bit about me, I'm an engineer. I've been working in the aerospace industry for a long time, more than 30 years, and my specialty is certification. So if you want to know more about my credentials, I have a GitHub repository where I have my CV and some of the code and programs that I've written and some of the systems that I'm managing. You can find me here, Jean-François Giraud. That's my CV. If you just want to see my regular GitHub, it's here with some of the work that I've done in engineering, statistics, crypto, etc. I'm also on LinkedIn if you want to look me up. Jean-François Giraud, I'm at JF Giraud Engineer. That's my LinkedIn. And on Twitter, you can find me at JF Giraud at 8289468, which is the name of my corporation, 8289468 Canada Inc. All right, so before we start with the presentation of the Google Sheet, I'm just going to be showing an example, and it's an example of a compliance to the regulatory requirement for drone operations. So a bit about regulation and transportation. In Canada, we have Transport Canada, and they have the authority that's delegated to them by the Transport Minister. And we have to comply with their requirement in order to ensure the safety of air operation. So if you're interested in that, you can just Google Transport Canada Civil Aviation Airworthiness. That will bring you to this Transport Canada page, and from there you can just go to aircraft certification, and that will bring you to the process for certifying aircraft. There's a regulation here that we use for all of the requirement for materials, processes, stress, etc. These laws derive from the statutory ordinance regulation 96433, which is like the top level law in aerospace in Canada. If you want to have more information on, for example, drone operation would be here, part 9. If you want to know more about certification of aircraft, you would go in part 5, which is airworthiness, and the regulation is there. For example, for transport category airplane, which would be your business jets, you would come here and all of the requirements are defined there. Let's close this. Now, specifically for drone, you can again go and just search TCCA drone in Google. That will take you to the drone safety page at Transport Canada, and you have a link here to part 9, which is the requirement for the drone operators. So this is what we're going to be using today to show how we can use a blockchain in a simple Google Sheet database for to show compliance with all of the requirement to the regulators. Okay, so let's close this. So you don't necessarily have to use a blockchain to show your compliance. The old way of doing things would have been to have simply a page where you record all of your operation, all your data in ink, so that it cannot be changed, falsified, or there's no risk of fraud. So that's what they used to really like seeing. Now Now with the latest technology, it's more practical and productive to use digital files and systems. The issue is with the digital system is that it's very easy to change those files and make them appear like they change the data. So there's a need for improving the data security. So on paper, you can do that by signing. You can also do that by signing a PDF. But PDF is a static document. It does not evolve. It does not change. It becomes a record once it's signed, and you cannot use it as a tool to keep track of your compliance. So a blockchain, the beauty of a blockchain is that it progresses. You can add information and build and iterate, and it becomes with time and people adding more information, a better document, a better system. So what I've done here is I'm using a Google Sheet to document the requirement for a compliance. So I'm going to go over the system first, and then I'll show an example. So what you want to do is to have a record that cannot be altered. You want an immutable database, just like the blockchain in Bitcoin or Ethereum is fixed. You cannot change the record of your compliance here. So the way it works is with the hashing function. An hashing function is a mathematical function that will take any size digital document and translate it into a value, which like a hash value. So for example, here we have a spreadsheet, and these are our data and one. So we hash. Well, first we have someone who will verify the information. So that would be your inspector, your auditor, your approver. So they verify the information, they put their signature, and then that information is hashed in here, and then that becomes your record. That cannot be changed. If you change anything here, the hash will change here. So that will invalidate all of the information. And then what happens is that you continue inserting record, and as the new records are inserted, the hash of the previous record is also inserted in the new record. So they're all linked. That's what the blockchain is. It's just linking all of the record together, so that if you change one, all of the future record will be changed, and that would be a sign that someone has altered or falsified the information. So the way that we do this is with a SHA-256, which is like a very common hash function that's used in the crypto space and with the cryptocurrency. So an example here, we have a record one that is verified by an auditor, inspector, designer, and then the hash is here. If you look at the hash function here in the formula, you have it here, and then you continue the process and you add more information for signature, verification, and then you hash. And this hash 6 is also contains the hash of the previous record. So you see cell A3 here, A3 concatenates the previous hash, cell B3 to J33, and the cell A2. So cell A3 includes in the hash, in its hash, the hash of cell A2 that links all records and makes the record, the blockchain unchangeable. All right, so let's go for an example here. So this is a drone record. So what we do is we have all the requirements from Transport Canada are here. So this column lists all of the requirement, and we need to comply to the requirements. So in here we would put the means of compliance. So how are we going to show that we're compliant with this information? Now, Transport Canada, the FAA, the EASA, they have published guides and guidance where they can give you methods to show that you're compliant. It can be done via those guidance. It can also be done by analysis, by test, by similarity. So this is the requirement. Here we would list how we are going to be meeting that requirement per what method, and then in here in the proof of compliance result we would put the data, the test results to the requirements as per the means of compliance. Now once that information has been entered, then what we do is we have the verification by the process owner, and then we can have an inspector, a verifier, an approver, and the comments by the process owner. So we're creating a record with validators, and also they can put their information. You know, they can add comments to the record. So once that's entered, this whole line here from here to here is hashed, and the hash value comes here. So that's your hash value, that's your blockchain, that's the start of your blockchain. And when the record is entered and approved, you have this. So this cannot change. You know, once you have it and you want to make sure that nobody change anything, you can just verify this, that this value has not changed. This is the concatenation of the entire line from B2 to M2. And then as you have more information coming in, more regulatory compliance requirements, you can just add the information. And again, you would hash the record, but the second record and third, not only do they hash their own record, but they also include in their hash the hash from the previous record. So that's how every block are chained together in a blockchain. So you see here, you have the hash of the B3 line, and it's concatenated with the hash of A2, and same thing here. You have the hash of B4 to M4, and also including A3. So that's how you connect everything together. Hope that this has been useful for you, and obviously this is a very, very simple blockchain. There's much more complicated system where you have, for example, Bitcoin, Ethereum, where you have different way of doing things. This is a more or less centralized way of doing it. This record is on a Google spreadsheet, but it can be duplicated and decentralized with the organization. Maybe one last thing. This is just like an open source system that I've created. But once you start entering information, data here, you have to be careful because this can be confidential, trade secrets. So you have to make sure that only people authorized or have access to that record as per the non-disclosure agreement or confidentiality requirement. So this has been an example of how a spreadsheet can be used to show to the authorities that you are in compliance with the requirement. This is for unmanned aerial vehicle, like a drone, but the same idea applies to any type of regulatory requirement for example, in environment, in asset management, even for ISO 9001 quality management systems, or even for project management. Hope this has been interesting. Don't hesitate to contact me if you have questions. Please leave your comments in the comment section below, and also look at the description for links and more information. Thank you very much and have a great day. JF signing off here. Bye-bye.